Hello, everyone. I'd like to welcome you all to our webinar today. On behalf of everyone at Ricoh and Microsoft, we appreciate you coming out and attending this. We're going to talk a little bit about redefining the new world of work. A quick introduction. My name is John Stewart. I'm the VP of IT Services, Sales, and Strategy at Ricoh USA. I'll be presenting today with Chris Swanson from Microsoft, a Senior Partner Technology Strategist. And as we all know, the pandemic has accelerated the need for change. The vast majority of businesses, no matter their size or industry, have been impacted enormously by the current unprecedented global conditions. This requires big changes on the part of employers and employees alike, as we strive to come to terms with the challenges brought on by the pandemic. At first, it was a survival strategy for businesses. Changes that needed to be effected immediately in order to keep operating. As businesses are regaining a measure of stability, the focus has shifted to building a new operational infrastructure that can endure. This centers around the way we work today and in the future, enabling remote working, rescheduling shifts to limit on-premise employees, using new innovative technologies as well as tried and true methods like wall and floor signage to promote a smart and safe workplace. Surrounding these work styles are two critical needs: a cloud infrastructure that supports this new world of work, and automation that can help reduce the burden on workers and keep critical business processes moving. The reason this is so important is that for many companies, this is not just a short-term move. Historically, everyone worked at the office, and some companies have and will go back to 100% in the office, but some will be 100% remote, and there will be others that will be 100% hybrid. If you need proof, a recent Fortune magazine survey of Fortune 500 CEOs asked by what point they expect 90% of their workforce to return to the workplace. While many were optimistic that they can return over the course of the next 12 months, only 1 in 4 expect that they will never reach that stage, that remote working is here to stay. While some companies may already have embraced home working before 2020, the majority of companies have had to rapidly pivot towards it without an appropriate level of planning and preparation in place. For those companies, as you build that new long-term infrastructure, here are 4 key questions you can consider. How are you attracting and inspiring top talent while developing and deploying strong leaders? Do employees have access to the right tools, information, and systems to perform their work? Can they be as productive and creative as they were in the office? How can they stay the course and stay connected to coworkers, line managers, and customers? And how are you protecting employees and data from rapidly increasing cyber threats? Here to shed some light on these questions is Chris Swanson from Microsoft.
Thanks so much, John. When we think about secure remote work, there is a lot of different ways that we can approach this. One of the things that we want to make sure is that our whole workforce is secured. And at Microsoft, we are committed to your success when doing this. We partner with organizations like Ricoh, and we have seen by working with many organizations since March, really the productivity, the practicality of remote worker, and the necessity of it, as well as great guidance and recommendations. And these 3 key areas keep popping to the top of what to think about. Making sure that we're enabling access to our apps for our remote workers. How can we make sure those devices are protected, regardless if it's somebody bringing their own device or maybe just administering new patches? And then really protecting our corporate resources. With data is key, keeping that data protected. So we're going to touch on each one of these just briefly today. If you have any questions, we welcome you to put them into the chat window. We'll be doing a Q&A session at the end, and any and all questions are welcome. We really would like to hear from you. So when we think about our remote apps, one of the first steps to consider is a security foundation. And we at Microsoft have been known to say it's not if, it's when regarding a cyber attack. But we also want to make sure when we think about securing applications that we secure it so that employees have access to all of the apps that they need to be able to do their work, and making that seamless. And so that means that there's this huge breadth of applications that are out there. Make sure that as an IT organization or as a corporate organization, they have a consistent experience, but also it's managed consistently. And that allows, adding that ease of manageability and ease of use for your users will make sure that your workforce can continue to work securely and remotely and consistently. When we think about our remote work, one of the first things we think about is just identity. And when we think about identity, we immediately think about managing that identity with conditional access. Now, this is an intelligent policy, and it allows you to define the conditions on how users can authenticate and gain access to their data. We've been doing this for a long time. As users of a bank, as clients of a bank, we get multi-factor authentication when maybe we go to a locale and use our credit card, and we get a text that says, did you use your credit card? 1 to approve, 2 to disapprove. Or a large amount comes through on our credit card, and it's declined immediately, and our bank sends us a text and says, do you want to approve this? Press 1, and then have the retailer rerun that. So we're getting a little bit more comfortable with conditional access, and that's really what the basis is of security for us. We want to automatically protect identities. So there's plenty of machine learning, artificial intelligence, that can help identify signals, user behavior, like maybe location. Like, can Chris Swanson really go from Colorado to Australia in 7 hours and try to log in that amount of time? Probably not. Or maybe even the state of my device. Maybe I'm on a device that's not recognized. So instead of giving me full access to everything on a device, maybe I'm only able to use the data in a cloud version of Word or Excel. Maybe print is disabled because I'm not on a trusted device. So there are tons and tons of signals that can be customized so that you can decide how your users gain access to the data that they need to be able to do their job while keeping the bad people out. And that's one of the keys. The next area is really around managing our devices. We had very little time to contemplate the best approach across all of the industries to manage our devices remotely. And what we're seeing is there's really a mix. Some users have corporate-only devices. Some users have corporate and personal devices. Some users have personal devices and they add corporate data to it. And so we know organizations are struggling to figure out how to provision and deploy those devices, and we want to help streamline that process for you. That's where working with a managed service provider like Ricoh can really jumpstart your progress on that. So one of the areas that we've seen a huge growth in is Windows Virtual Desktop. It's a really compelling alternative because it gives you great scalability. There's really a low admin burden. You don't have a lot of jump to get started on it, but there is still the conversation about making sure that it's secured and managed, not only now, but the full life cycle of how you're going to use that. And then the last key point was really about the corporate resources. We want to protect all of our corporate resources, not just what may be behind a VPN. We know that there are people out there that are taking advantage of the pandemic, and so protecting not only our data, but our apps and our endpoints is really paramount. It's a focus of every corporation. There are some built-in security capabilities to make sure that those endpoints are safe. And that is one of the keys of getting to protecting the data. So we know data lives in other places besides our traditional Microsoft Office apps. There's probably hybrid environments in every one of the organizations that we work with. So we have flexible protection options so that you can decide where that data security policy needs to happen consistently, no matter if it's hybrid, cloud, or on-premise. It's also interesting that the cloud-based files can be inspected for sensitive information based on a policy, and then data protection information labels could be automatically applied. So for example, in an HR repository, those data files could be automatically classified as not being able to be downloaded or not being able to be printed unless it's on a corporate resource. Very simple idea of how detailed you can get on those policies. There's also policies that can raise alerts. So if there's a violation, then it is alerted. It's not just out there in cyber nowhere. It's actually alerted. And that gives you the ability to thoroughly investigate that violation, decide if you need some additional governance actions, and then allow you to remediate either with a single click or implement some type of data sharing or even a usage policy. So some of the examples are you could put the file into quarantine so that only one user could access the file. You could change the sharing so that you could restrict it. It's a link, a private link instead of a public link. And you could also send notifications to those users who shared those sensitive files. There is a lot of different ways to make sure that your data is protected. And one of the things we are often asked is, gosh, how do we get started? So we've listed out just a few very easy ways to start your remote work security. We've touched very, very briefly on some of the critical steps and some of the resources. But this is a great screen. Feel free to do a screen capture, copy. We want to make sure that you know that every organization, we want to make sure you know that Microsoft understands every organization is in a different place. As you think about where to go and what the next logical steps are for you, take some time and talk that over with Ricoh. Make sure that they understand where you're at, where you'd like to go. It will really focus that conversation and give you a very different experience than maybe trying to tackle it all at once. As a reminder, we would love your questions. Security, cybersecurity, multi-factor authentication, all of those are very big topics, so please put your questions in. We're going to switch gears just a little bit for the next few minutes. We really want to talk about Microsoft Teams. Microsoft Teams is a platform and a tool that is bringing together multiple ways to work. And some of us might be like, I don't know why I need to figure out yet another tool. But what we're finding is for the first time in history, we have 5 generations in the workplace. All of us have different backgrounds and different experiences. Some are comfortable only with instant messaging. Some prefer email. Some want to have a phone call. Some prefer to face-to-face. And so this is really a challenge. And so we are seeing that Teams is a great productivity tool across all of these different experiences and a way to collaborate. So very simply, when we think about Teams, we think about transforming our collaboration inside of our workplace. It's a shared workspace. You can chat, you can meet, you can create. I can co-author not only documents in OneNote and Word, but Excel and PowerPoint. And it's interesting, there's a little stat. It says the average person takes 23 minutes to regain productivity after an interruption or a distraction. And so by staying inside of Teams, it allows you to stay in the flow of your work. Teams is also a true platform. What that means is that you can plug in different tools or apps into what you already use. So, for example, imagine being able to seamlessly start an approval process. It allows you to not have to leave Teams and open up email or open up another tool. You could start it right from inside of Teams. It's also important to know that Teams can connect everyone on a single platform. And I think it's interesting for those that maybe have a traditional knowledge of Skype or Skype for Business. Teams was built for mobile first. And what that means is that if I am in a place that I do not have access to a traditional network, maybe I'm a retail shop or in a classroom or in a hospital, on the factory floor, I'm a sales rep that's out in my car. We all know that those types of workers may not be plugged into a corporate network. Teams was built for that. It really was built for that mobile first usage. And Teams also complies with all of our enterprise-grade security and compliance. It provides you all the compliance controls that you need for the different certifications. And it's across industry. So it can be small. It could be a small organization. It could be a very agile business. And even our large, globally scaled companies. And Teams, while it does provide the traditional collaboration of instant messaging and team chat, it also allows you to do meetings and calling. This allows me to stay connected, and I can share video, I could share audio, I could even share my screen. I can engage in meetings spontaneously, or I could even schedule a meeting. I could have a large meeting or a one-on-one meeting, and it does not matter what device I join from. I can join from my desktop. I could join from a browser, mobile, and even meeting room devices. So if I walk into a large conference room with a Teams-enabled device, it could, if it's configured, recognize and connect me to the next meetings. There is a lot of great information about Teams. I highly recommend you dive deeper into this technology with your Ricoh team. One piece that I'm very excited about also is some of the artificial intelligence in Teams. One of the things that we struggle with is sometimes translation. I can actually use inline message translation inside of Teams. So if I'm chatting with somebody in French, I can type it in English. It shows up in English on their side. They can right-click, and as you can see here, it will allow us to translate. We have about 40 languages currently. I also have the ability to do meeting recording and transcription. I'm sorry, I skipped over the second one. Our mobile companion mode. This is fantastic because if I'm in a office or connected to a network and I need to leave and go to my next meeting, I can join the meeting from my phone and it will recognize I'm the same person. It won't show me twice in the meeting attendees. It will ask if I'd like to transfer the meeting or if I want to do a mobile companion, which then allows me to maybe do chat on my phone or get to other areas of Teams while I'm still viewing the meeting on a traditional desktop, or vice versa. We also have meeting recording and transcription. This is powered by Microsoft Stream. You can easily catch up on missed meetings. I use this a lot. I have the ability to do 1.5 or 2 times the speed of some of the meetings that you miss. but I can also read the transcription, or I can go search the transcription for a specific word if I'm looking for something specific in that meeting. And we also have background blur and live captions. So background blur, if you don't want somebody to know where you're sitting. We also have the ability to do a custom background, and you can put up your own photos. There's a set of stock photos that are provided with Teams as well. But it also just helps to avoid disturbances in our background. A dog running into the room, the kids coming in, our spouses looking for something that they know is behind us. It really allows those other attendees to focus on us, maybe not what's always going on behind us. So here's a few more stats for you guys, some modern workplace challenges. We know that there's this variety of cross-departmental and geographic teams. According to Forrester, I thought it was interesting, 62% of the employees work remotely. We have sure seen that become true since the beginning of the pandemic. And then we're seeing a lot of these old silo apps really come together into teams for productivity. And I thought it was interesting that almost 25% of the average worker's time goes into looking for information. So we see that those are patterns that could be addressed, so we conceptualize that into a tool that could bring people, content, information together and allow us to start to collaborate around these tasks and really make progress toward our true business and personal goals. One tool that we would love for you guys to go play with, it's called Planner. It's a tool that can be added to Teams. It is a work management solution. It's built into our Office 365 suite of products. This is not to replace Microsoft projects. This is for the rest of us that just need a place to track very quickly our to-dos and our teamwork. I can put in my personal to-dos. I could create a team, and inside of Team put Planner and assign tasks to that team. But the nice thing is for me, it brings it all together to one view. So if I'm on 5, 6, 10 teams, and I have tasks in every one of them, I don't have to worry about going and looking at all of those different places. It pulls it together and organizes it for me very quickly. And that's really one of the things that I like about Planner is I don't have to worry about keeping on top of things. It will send me notifications. It'll help me stay on track of my team's progress, and I can access it from any device as well. I use Planner pretty consistently on my phone. We hope you ask any questions. Thank you so much for your attention. I'm going to give it back to John.
Thanks, Chris. It's important, I think, for customers to know that Ricoh is not only a Microsoft Gold partner, but we're also a partner that utilizes the M365 suite internally. So when the pandemic hit, everyone at Ricoh didn't miss a step. We continued to work as we had already been working with the capability to work remotely, securely, utilizing part of the M365 suite, such as Microsoft Teams, to fully collaborate and communicate with both internal employees, partners, and customers. So now is the right time to discover greater productivity and teamwork with Microsoft 365. As you can see, we've got mobile worker support, enterprise-grade security, external collaboration, and real-time teamwork. Give your company a competitive advantage with an intuitive hub for teamwork that fosters creativity, ideation, and innovation across your organization. Start empowering employees to do more, break down silos, and get stronger engagement on teams. All of this, of course, in a completely secure and compliant end-to-end solution that allows you to securely manage access and prevent confidential information from leaking. Small, medium businesses who upgrade to Microsoft 365 cite multiple benefits, including saving information workers an average of 4 hours per week from improved collaboration and information sharing, enabling executives and other key decision makers to improve time to decision by 17%, thanks to having all resources readily available in teams and being able to confer with their peers more efficiently. Reduced attrition rates, an average 20 fewer employees leaving companies with improved worker satisfaction and team empowerment, and 14.6% reduction in user downtime. Microsoft 365 gives you peace of mind by safeguarding your business in 3 key ways. First, you get protection from sophisticated external cyber threats, hidden email attachments and links, and get cutting-edge defense against phishing and spoofing attacks, ransomware, and other advanced malware attempts. Second, you gain more control over your company data and documents. Protection from data leaks helps you prevent sensitive information like Social Security numbers and credit card numbers from being shared outside your business. It controls access to documents, even those documents have been shared outside your company. Third, you can manage the app's data and documents on devices that access your company data, regardless of the data type, and regardless of the device type or operating system, iOS, macOS, Android, Windows, etc. Microsoft 365 Business helps you manage these devices. These capabilities draw upon Microsoft's overall security investments and are built on enterprise products like Intune and Azure Information Protection. Now you might be thinking, I can just go to buy Microsoft 365 directly from Microsoft. Why would I go through Ricoh for that? The reason is that when you license through Microsoft, you're also taking on a responsibility for licensing, implementation, management, adoption, maintenance, and support. With Ricoh, you get a partner who will take on that burden with you, handling all the onboarding and day-to-day management so your IT resources can stay focused on strategic projects that can help improve the experience for your customers. We provide a dedicated technology consultant whose sole focus is to collaborate and advise your leadership and major IT stakeholders in the building of strategic IT initiatives and subsequent execution plans. You get a 24/7 US-based service desk to be the first line of defense for user and device support. We handle all the Microsoft operating system management, including patches and upgrades, as well as managing the laptops, desktops, and even mobile devices your employees use to get work done. We can move your servers to the cloud and handle all server and network device management, and we even set up a cloud backup solution to enhance data protection for your workstations, servers, and even your Microsoft and Office 365 data. Not only do we use this technology ourselves, a key reason we experienced little to no interruption in business operations when COVID hit and sent our workforce remote overnight, we already do this for hundreds of clients every day. Working with Ricoh as your managed IT services partner, you can respond more quickly to changing business conditions, focus on other key business priorities instead of IT, increase worker productivity and business continuity, gain access to new technologies and IT expertise, and reduce business risks through enhanced security protocols. I wanted to kind of go through a quick case study of a customer that we implemented Microsoft 365 for and was able to take advantage of all the different features and functions that Chris and I have talked about today. This insurance brokerage firm was growing. They were looking to acquire a few locations as well as expand existing locations. They had workers across multiple locations, and they needed a solution to eliminate the need for local servers, needed to make sure everyone could collaborate, that data was being shared properly and securely. We utilized the Microsoft 365 subscription as a tool to provide all these services and connect their different locations together, put them on a common platform where they were able to share information, email, Teams for collaboration, OneDrive for data sharing. We also implemented multi-factor authentication using Intune along with mobile device management. increase data protection, and help them to adhere to strict HIPAA requirements. And we also implemented VoIP with their Microsoft teams to dramatically improve collaboration across geographies. So you can see from this example, Ricoh is here to help customers and partners implement the right technology to allow them to remote work anytime and get access to the data they need at any time. We realize there are attendees of this webinar that may already be operating on Microsoft 365 Business or some other enterprise subscription. We hope you still found this information valuable, but in addition to Microsoft licensing and management, Ricoh also has professional service resources that can help you improve the use of these tools to help get the most out of your existing investment. We could take over your M365 subscription and manage it for you and help provide some of the managed IT services referenced today. And we also have some examples of projects that we might be able to help you with, including Skype to Teams migration, starting to prepare for your upgrade of SharePoint Server 2010, which is end-of-life support in April 2021, or just want to improve the way these tools are working for your business. Ricoh has the expertise and resources to help migrate data and develop these applications to meet your specific needs. At this time, we'd like to go through some of the questions we received today and go through some of the answers from the team here.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, John. This is Chris Swanson again. We received a couple of questions that I wanted to touch on and make sure that you can get some answers. We will also, we can send some other details to you. Afterwards, some links that can give you some additional information as well. One of the questions that was asked is about Teams. We had a couple questions about Teams. And the one that I think is interesting is, one is, how can we record sorry, let me read it the right way. The question was, how are Teams meetings automatically recorded and saved, and how are they later accessed and shared? So are Teams meetings automatically recorded? The answer is currently no. It's a great feature to add, so I will post it into what we call open voice, user voice, sorry. You can also go in and request features in our products in user voice. If you just do a quick search for Microsoft Teams user voice, you can see everything that's been suggested and what's coming. Once you do record a meeting, then yes, it's automatically saved. It's saved into Microsoft Stream, which automatically adds transcription, and it also will post a link to that stream in the chat of the meeting. So inside of Teams, when you do a meeting, you have a whole chat panel as well. As a practice for our team, we post the meeting also in the general channel, that main conversation channel as well. So I hope that answers your question. I think it's a great question. I love the idea of auto-recording meetings, so I think that's fantastic. Another question that was asked was, how does Teams support mobile first when it's not connected, like on a factory floor? Teams can be accessed through any type of platform. You don't have to always be on a computer. You could use a kiosk, you could use a laptop, a tablet, anything that is connected to cell or Wi-Fi you could do. There are some very fun first-line worker coming soon features inside of Teams. One is we will have a walkie-talkie feature. It's actually something I'm on the, it's an internal new early release ring, and so we've been playing with it. So that's a very easy way to do that as well. But it really does bring a lot of optimizations of business processes because it keeps you in that one program. It helps you streamline identity and your access management. But there are some really interesting ways that we're seeing it used for first-line workers. So while it's not necessarily, if it is used on a factory floor, it can be incorporated also into some of the kiosks or some of the actual locations in the factory. That answers your question. If it doesn't, please let us know and we'll make sure to get it answered. Hey, John, how about I let you answer one of the next ones about how this all works with some of the Ricoh products.
Sure, Chris. So the RSI connector that's available on our copier and NFC devices, which is a subscription, allows the device to connect directly with SharePoint and OneDrive. So you can use Ricoh technology in order to connect directly with SharePoint and OneDrive to upload documents and information directly in there. There was another question around what kind of support we receive with the 365 suite. Microsoft 365 is a subscription. There's a couple different versions available, but Ricoh layers on top our IT support services. So whether you're interested in our full IT Essentials offering where we can become your IT department or part of your IT department, we can provide a full suite of services, or if you're just interested in the Microsoft 365 suite, we can provide just support on the M365 suite, including support for the typical Office applications as well as the other different products within the M365 program. Another question, as we migrate to the cloud, we're spinning down our local infrastructure such as our print server. What cloud solutions are available for managing printers, deploying printers with various drivers, et cetera, using Office 365 Intune? I know that Ricoh has some different solutions around print device management, including our own intellectual property, Streamline NX. But I think there's some other technologies. I don't know, Chris, if you can mention what Microsoft has built into M365 to help with that.
That goes nicely into another question about the difference between Office 365 and Azure. We are a platform company, and it's amazing what we can build. Our Azure platform allows us to run multiple different types of programs, infrastructure as a service, platform as a service, some cognitive services. When we get down into the M365 platform, that includes all of our traditional Office 365 products, Word, Excel, PowerPoint. It also includes Teams. It includes some the planner that I mentioned. It also includes the, when I think of some of just the collaboration tools and the ability to share information. So traditional SharePoint comes up. There's some new tools coming out. We have some great resource links that I can send you as well and make sure that you have that information at your fingertips, I'll say. Another question that came up was, when is Skype for Business going away? And depending on the version or product, if you have a Skype for Business server on-prem versus Skype for Business online, it's a different answer. So Skype for Business server, we do have in the extended support dates published. Skype for Business online is being retired, and it is being governed by our lifecycle policy. So know that that is something that's going away. I'll tell you, when we moved from Skype for Business to Teams internally at Microsoft, it was overnight. And I logged in one morning to Skype for Business, and it said, your organization is no longer on Skype for Business. Please use Teams. And that's part of being part of that early release program. So it was pretty abrupt, but it was also very easy to start using. So don't be afraid of that. One question that was asked also, totally a little different subject, is will Planner integrate with Project, and can we get notifications on the tasks included in Project? Planner can talk with Project. There is a little bit of integration that happens in the background with some of the tools. The nice thing is you can post those Microsoft Project tasks to Planner, and then you can turn on notifications, or you can make sure that it's kind of seen. If you're looking to do a larger project management, management of projects and manage those tasks, there's also, all the way up to managing enterprise resource groups and managing your cost basis. That's not something that Planner is really built for. We do have other programs in that project space that is built for that. I joke that Planner is for the rest of us. Planner is for our non-project management professionals, and we just need to track tasks. But there is some very interesting integrations that happen in the background. All right.
Chris,
let's see.
another question that came up. We're currently using Skype and Outlook, but not on Microsoft 365. Can we migrate our data and configurations so we aren't starting from scratch? The answer is yes. We've done a number of migrations from previous versions of Office or Outlook or Skype into M365, so we can work with a customer on what kind of data they have today, what they really want to migrate over, what the level of effort is, and help a customer determine exactly what they want to do there. Another one was if Microsoft 365 is running in the cloud, do our users need to connect over VPN to access? Generally speaking, you can connect to the M365 applications over the internet. There's different security protocols built into there, but your IT department or your IT provider would most likely have some additional layers of security, such as multi-factor authentication and possibly even VPN before you could fully connect to all the resources available. I know that Outlook will connect over the internet. I know that you can log in to your M365 subscription even on your phone, but it's really determined by your IT department and company policy as to what other layers of security are in front of your full access to that. One other was how are Ricoh printing solutions integrating with the M365 data protection options. That one, Tara, we might have to get back to you for a full-blown answer on, but bottom line is that Ricoh has a number of security features, functions, and protocols for all of its kind of print management solutions. Integration with M365 is ongoing, but I'll make sure we follow up with you after the webinar to get you a full explanation on that.
Fantastic. Another question that came up was around compliance and ensuring that data inside of Office 365 is compliant with things like HIPAA and FERPA. Office 365 is run as a software as a service. And I should be more clear, sorry, Microsoft changed the name of Office 365 to M365 Personal. My apologies. We're incorporating more products into it, so we made the name change a little early. The idea around running it in Azure is that it is covered underneath HIPAA. That's one of our cores, is making sure that the data is inside of Office 365, M365, and Azure is compliant. We're a platform company. We provide the tools for you to be able to do that. There are some configurations that you would need to do to make sure that your data would be HIPAA or FERPA or SOX or whatever, ITAR compliant. That is something that we really rely on our partners to do, like Ricoh. They're one of our gold certified managed partners. And so the compliance, we can provide compliance reports on that. Your admin center can give you specific information on your documents and your data as well. So that's a great tool to kind of keep in the back of your mind. If you do have other questions about how to set it up for compliance, please ask and reach out for sure. One of the other questions was about OneDrive and moving from maybe a home folder or a traditional network folder to OneDrive for business for our users. And the question is, how does OneDrive backup and restore work? There are, it's 2 levels of restoration. If a user deletes a document in their OneDrive folder, they have the ability to restore it for The default is 30 days. That's the number that's set up in the system. That is completely configurable. You can decide on how long that user could restore a document that they deleted. Then there is a second level admin restoration as well. So the admin for your OneDrive for Business would be able to log in and they can restore files up to 90 days. Again, that is a system setting. You can change that. If it is past that, then there is some decisions about what kind of backup and restore technology do you want to implement. You can use additional backup and restore technologies. There's first-party solutions from Microsoft. There are third-party solutions as well. But all of those are available to you. But by default, out of the box, a standard user can restore their own documents for 30 days, and the administrator of that service for your organization can restore it up to 90 days. One question was, since talking about OneDrive, is there a better way to provision access like we do in AD groups? OneDrive for Business is traditionally set up for the user to have full control. If you want to use OneDrive, OneDrive for Business is actually a branded version of a SharePoint document library. And if you would like to use SharePoint document libraries at a larger level, there are tools available that you can absolutely use AD groups. We tend to see groups used very extensively, but there are also some third-party tools that are very powerful out there. Please feel free to reach out and ask for a demo of some of those. Ricoh is going to be a great managed service provider to help you with that as well. And I think the last question I see is any consideration for using the switchboard or paging systems in Teams? I personally have not been involved in that conversation, but it's another one I will go and take a look at the user voice. Feel free to go to the user voice for Teams and post that as a recommendation as well.
Great. Well, I want to thank everyone for attending the webinar today. That's all the questions we have as of right now. We'll be sure to get out a recording of the webinar and a copy of the presentation to everyone. If you have additional questions, you can certainly reach out to us after the webinar or reach out to your designated Ricoh representative. And Chris, thank you very much for co-presenting with us today. All of the information you presented was very helpful and useful to all of our attendees on the webinar. And that's about it. Thank you, everyone, and have a great day.
Have a great day, everybody.